Hey guys, hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to Coffee Code and Chat. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We have a surprise guest. Maybe it's not a surprise if you guys seen my previous post. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But I hope you guys are doing super awesome. Let me know if the audio is working well, if the video is working well, if everything works well, because I want to make sure that if anything is an issue, I get to fix it early on before we get too far. I see we already have some of you guys in the chat. Already see some likes coming in. Really appreciate it because without you guys, this stream would be nothing. You know, you guys are the ones that make this community happen. And I really, really, really appreciate all of you guys. So let's say some hello while we wait for our guests. Greeting from Argentina. Hey, Adrian, good to see you. This is the best live stream of the whole YouTube. Man, thanks. Thanks. I don't know if it's the best one. I try my best, but I really appreciate it. And we have Tech Rally about to join us. 1 second. I'm going to bring him in. Hold on. Right. Hey, we got Tech Rally here. How you doing? Oh, man, I
Good.
can hear you good. Can you hear you well?
Can you hear me good? Is it too
Yeah,
loud?
yeah. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. So, you know, just saying hello to everybody. People saying everything sounds good. Let me adjust my camera a bit. You know, maybe I gotta move my head closer.
I gotta post this on my Discord really quick.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Still saying hello. It's gonna be a lot of fun as always. You know, we got Tech Rally here. That's 100% right there. Let's see.
What
Let
the
me see
heck?
if I can adjust myself here. Oh, zoom, move. This is as far as I'm gonna get my face. All right, it is what it is. I'll get closer, like this, very close. Man, I'm too.
Why is there verses on the thumbnail?
Listen. We're gonna fight. I didn't tell you, right? We're gonna argue. This whole live stream is just gonna be us arguing about stuff. Like
We're gonna
big
argue
drama.
about
Listen,
whose channel is better.
bro, you do a lot of work on your channel. I really like the effort you put in. Let me switch my camera because I don't like it. I don't mind if you guys could see. Oh, one too far. Let's see. Let me fix this.
This is a
You
new
see,
view. Look at this. I've
you
never
see
seen
this.
that view
This is where
before.
the magic happens with me and alone by
This is where you
myself.
code.
Yeah, exactly. This is how it happens. Like my office is literally 2 inches away from my bed. Not a good strategy, because it's very easy to go back to sleep. I don't recommend it. Let's see.
Yeah.
See people saying hello. Hey,
How's it
Space
looking on
Black.
the live
That's like
stream?
yeah, super. Yeah, I know. I don't anything that's happening from this front camera is just not gonna be amazing, but I don't mind because I know the content's gonna be good. Hey, Logic Cindy, great to see you. Adrian, yes, the show is going to be great because we got Tech Crelly in the flesh. Well, on camera. This is good enough. The coding journey. Let's begin. If you're joining us, guys, smash the like button. Say hello to Tech Rally. If you guys haven't seen his channel, he makes some amazing content. He puts a lot of effort into his videos, more effort than I do. I'm not afraid to say it, but that's why they're good.
Nah, man. I mean, everyone does it a little differently. I'm sure you put a lot of effort as well. Don't downplay your work, bro.
Right.
This game is hard.
Yeah, this game is hard, man. A lot of people, don't realize it. So what I want to talk on this live stream with you, I think is going to be useful, is talk about, if someone's trying to get their first job, what kind of projects they should be building for their portfolio, and also maybe some tips on looking for your job. I know you just recently got your new job. Congratulations. That's amazing. And, we could talk about that as well. But before we do, for those of us who are watching, maybe haven't checked you out, do you want to do like a brief introduction of what you do, who you are?
Yeah, that's probably a good way to start off the channel or the stream. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Tech Rally, and it's to help aspiring developers break into tech. So a lot of my content is related to tips and tricks on how to break into tech and land that first software developer job. Outside of my YouTube channel, I am currently working full-time at Amazon as a front-end developer. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, you could always join my Discord channel or just check out my YouTube channel. and that's it.
Yeah, I like the name dropping. I work at Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
fine. I
but
work at a
so
company as a front end
no, no,
developer.
but that's good because the fact is, because you do have an interesting journey. Like you went to a boot camp, and so the fact that you're now working at Amazon just shows that put in the work, and I know you work hard. You hustle. You're gonna get to where you want to go. Do you want to tell us about the journey from your boot camp to landing your Amazon job? I know a lot of time has gone uh,
Yeah.
since then, but it's just I think good for people to hear like realistic like kind of stories and expectations.
Yeah, before I do, dude, you have 9 people watching and you have 8 likes. That's a great ratio, by the way.
As, I think I was like four of those likes from my different accounts.
So if you're
Listen,
not
my
liking this
secret.
video, make sure you like this video right now.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, I think it's definitely not one of those journeys where you graduate from a boot camp and then you start working at Amazon, Apple, Facebook, or whatnot. I had to kind of start from the bottom in a sense. And yeah, I mean, I did a coding bootcamp for about 3, 4 months, followed that by attending, or I got a job as a full stack developer at an agency, which had about 6, 7 people around there. Did that for about 8 months, learned a lot about front end, back end development, and decided that I really want to get good at front end. And because it's just kind of one of those things where I get the more experience you get as a developer, the more you realize there are certain things you like more than others. So I just kind of put my eggs in this one basket of I want to be a good front end developer, really go in depth into JavaScript, really go into that depth to scalable CSS, and right at that moment, the job that I was doing was kind of pushing me in all directions, which is good, but it's not necessarily good for what I wanted to do for my career. So I found another job afterwards working in a social healthcare company, worked there for about 5 years. I learned a lot, took a lot of projects on my own, led a lot of projects, which was awesome because that's kind of the experience I needed to get to where I am now and have that confidence to start applying to, I guess, higher tier jobs, if you want to say. I don't really consider that higher tier. It's just a different job. And fortunately enough, I was able to land a gig at a top fame company, but it never really was my goal at all, actually, after graduating from boot camp, and even when I was working at my healthcare company, it just happened that way. Yeah, I never like put any job on a pedestal, and nor will I ever. I think it's just more along the lines of it just happened that way, and I got kind of lucky.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So basically, just go to boot camp, and 3 weeks later, you're gonna get a new job working at Amazon, right? That's what basically happened to you, right? Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you
Just
long story short, just
no,
just put
no.
that in your like YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is because there's so many people like, and I'm sure there's people that go to boot camp for 3 months and then maybe they had prior experience, before, and they're able to land like a big job, but it's not the case for a lot of people. And so I think keeping realistic expectations and understanding that you have to hustle and put in the work to get to where you need to go. I mean, that's important for people to know. Like, there is no quick, easy fix.
Yeah, I agree, and that's part of the game. I think a lot of that's kind of what I kind of sound like a broken record because I more or less give the same advice all the time, but it's so true. And like a lot of people don't have patience. A lot of people don't have. They just want an instant gratification of like huge salaries or whatever. But if anything, you have to understand that this is a long term game because you're going to be doing this
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely got to enjoy it, I think. You got to love the process. I just want to do some quick shout outs here. Just one for now. Roy Shepard, hey, what's up? I think he's the guy who won on the Coder Foundry channel the self-paced bootcamp. So congrats to you. If you guys don't know what we talked about yet, you could check out Coder Foundry, see what they're up to. We'll probably mention it at some point later today, but I just want to say congrats. So my question for you, what is when you started, graduate out of your boot camp, what did your portfolio look like?
Right. My portfolio, I had one big project, and that big
Okay.
project was a kind of interview preparation platform specifically for technical challenges. So, what we did was we scraped all the Project Euler problems into our database, and then we essentially built out this code editor formatting system where you can essentially like copy and paste your code into
Oh, nice.
for each question and then save it and then share that with other people that kind of not download the application, but that also are so basically there was this authentication system where you could have access to the Project Euler problems and then you could share with people that have the same like community as you to like, oh, like what did you do for your problem number one? What did you do for problem number two? So a lot of the stuff that I did was related to like building this kind of social network to do technical challenges with. And I thought that was pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah,
So we
and
came
what
up with
was
leak code before leak code. No, I'm kidding.
right. Yeah, so that's how I actually make my money. No,
Yeah.
what was the stack that you guys used, like for the front end and back end?
So then, I mean, just as a full disclaimer, it was back in 2015.
Yeah,
So
wow, different
for us,
stuff.
we were just still using Ruby on Rails and a Ruby on Rails template as well. So there was no
Yep.
front end framework or anything like that. It
Right.
was just pure Ruby on Rails.
Yeah, yeah. By
What
the
about
way,
you? What's your story actually? Now
oh
I'm
my
curious.
God, this is
You gotta
crazy.
tell.
I'll tell you in 1 second, guys. If you're just joining in, we're going to talk about work-related stuff, resume, landing your first job. Also, without you guys, this channel, this community would not exist. I mean, Tech Rally wanted to come in here also to give some answers to your questions. So don't be shy and ask questions in the comments because that's why we're here. But to my journey, it was very interesting because like prior to coding, for most of my job, I actually taught MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And
That's
so,
right.
yeah, and so I did that for a long time. It was actually a pretty pleasant job. I was doing pretty good, but I got hurt a bunch of times. I had ACL surgery, which took me a year to recover. And then eventually I was like, man, if I keep this up, like I'm definitely gonna wreck myself and I'm not gonna be able to like hang out with my kids or like whatever. And so basically what I started doing is I started learning coding on my own. I started like around early 30s, but I was going on and off. I was trying to learn everything under the sun, and basically like 5 years went by because I was like on and off, and I basically learned like a lot about nothing. And so it was only when I was like around 35, 36, I started taking it more seriously and I committed to JavaScript and then getting into React. And then eventually, like about a year and a half ago, I was able to land my first job. And prior to that, I did some like internships, but I didn't consider them like real jobs because they're all like internship or contract work doing like WordPress stuff. So that's basically it. But what I found out through my journey that it is really hard, and so like
Mm.
when people tell me like 3 months, that's all it took, I'm like, I don't know, maybe like you must have some secrets that I don't, but I think it's just putting in the work and working hard. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I quit my job and I literally did 100% just
Yeah.
learning how to code. So
Yes. Yes.
if you're not doing anything else, that's kind of what 3 months is to one person can be totally different for another person
Right.
because it's what you spend on those days.
Yeah.
Are you actually learning code? I was learning code like 8 to 10 hours a day, maybe even more
Yeah.
actually, probably 14 hours a day. So I didn't have a job. I was just coding every day mindlessly till I got a job.
Yeah, and that's the caveat I would say. Like, and I totally agree with you. Is this idea is that like you commit full time, you immerse yourself in coding, and that's kind of because I'm older. I'm going to be 41 soon, and so like the way I look at it, it's for me competing with the young folks, young guys, it's like I can't just mess around. I have to become really good at my craft, at least the stack that I work at. So I eat, live, breathe code. I
Right.
Instead of Netflix, I watch like tutorials. Instead of like whatever, I do coding. And some people be like, "Well, you have no life left." Well, the fact is, I'm older and I'm fairly new to this. That's the only way I could stay competitive. And if you're younger, you definitely have more chance. But yeah, you definitely have to understand that you have to put in the work, and there's no way around it.
Are you gonna make
I,
a second channel called Coding After 40 one day, or is that just
listen. We're friends, right? Listen, I'm like, how can
my
I?
friend?
Yeah, well, yeah. 40.
Just adding some jokes in there and in between. Gotta keep the
Listen. Didn't your
conversation light.
parents told you to be respectful to your elders? I'm gonna play that card right now. It's all right.
Well,
No,
you don't
no,
know
I'm
how old I
sticking,
am. Maybe I am 40.
bro. You look really good for 40. I'm just gonna say right now. But what I'm gonna say, like, no, I'm gonna keep it after 30. I think that's my demographic anyway for people
Mm.
like around that age who are looking to switch careers and stuff. That's kind of what it's for. So you had that big portfolio. When you got your first interview for your job, what were the questions they were asking you at the interview, or your experience has been.
Right. And what I really loved about this company was I actually just ended up coding with them on a single feature built on one of the projects that they were already working on. So they obviously deleted my code afterwards, but they just wanted to see how I operate
Right.
in like a Ruby on Rails environment because that's kind of what I advertised as, right? In this
What you
sense, I
got,
said
yeah.
I am learning Ruby, my stack is Ruby on Rails, and I believe that I could help your team at a discount relatively help you build out your applications. And basically what this company did was, hey, look, we have this Ruby on Rails feature, we're trying to add this button and this kind of interaction with this button to this form. How would you do this? So of course, I don't know if you're familiar with Ruby on Rails, but they have like the similar concept as
Yeah.
model view
Yeah,
controllers.
controller, yeah.
So I just investigate where the model was and what we're actually updating, and then looking at the controller, updating the controller that way, and then rendering out the view. So this was really cool. It wasn't one of those crazy algo problems or anything like that. It was just trying to see how do you do on the job. And one thing that I always recommend for newer developers that are trying to find their first job is it might be worth it just joining a startup or joining a smaller
Yeah.
company that are looking for junior developers because number one, their testing is a little bit different. Obviously, we don't know what they're going to test you on, but what I found is that they have a tendency to kind of see, can you make an impact on the job? Not do you know algorithms?
Right, right. And that's kind of the same process I went through. And all the algo interviews I had, I didn't do that well because it wasn't my priority. My priority was actually learn how to build stuff. It's funny you talk about Ruby because when I started learning to code, Ruby was the most popular thing at the time. And I actually started learning Ruby. By the time I understood Ruby, it was too late. It was no longer cool. So it's just like, it's funny.
Yeah, it's
Here,
crazy how things change so fast.
I
Yeah.
know it's amazing, and that's why the thing hard about coding is that you have to be a life learner for the rest of your life, basically,
Mm.
if you want to stay competitive. Which is kind of cool because I work with some old school C++ developers, and they're transitioning to the web, and I know more than they do. Obviously, they could learn all that stuff fairly easily because they're pretty smart. But speaking of that, here's a question: do you think it's a good idea to add to a resume that you're going back to school for computer science?
You want to answer that or?
I mean, I think it like, yeah, if you're going to go back to school and go to it's computer science and you're actually doing that, yeah, why not? It's not going to hurt, in my opinion. You know,
Right. I agree. I think the only caveat is what kind of job would you be looking for in that
right?
sense? Are you looking for an internship or are you looking for a full-time job? Are you going to quit your school for your job? I think those are the questions people would ask, but I'm not really sure from that perspective. But it's good to add it in. I don't think it's going to hurt.
Yeah, now I know you do a little like some side coaching, help people land their first job, people that actually probably already have projects, have a portfolio, have a resume, but they're just
Mhm.
not quite landing jobs. Like, what kind of advice do you give them, or what do you look at? If there are like three things that they should have, what would you say they are it?
Yeah, and it's not something I really advertise too much on my one-on-ones, especially because as we're I'm sure we're both really busy doing our
Yeah,
own
time
things, and
wise,
it's
yeah.
just one of those things where I have it there and I have it through a paywall just because I'm trying to filter out how many people are messaging me, and it's just like I can't help everyone. But if you really want to know at a cheap, affordable price, I could talk to you for like an hour and whatnot. But a lot of the people that do reach out and I do have a talk with, a lot of it is very similar. I think the main thing I notice is they do have a lot of imposter syndrome. So the first one is I try to navigate the mindset, and this is kind of like not super technical, and it could be kind of wishy washy. But I really notice a lot of imposter syndrome in a sense that when they approach the interview, they're kind of coming in from a perspective of please give me a chance, please put your
Yeah,
hope in me, and blah blah blah. It's like, dude, you have coded for 3 4 months, 6 months, a year, you have projects. You have to come in with a perspective of this is a professional interview. You are a professional software developer, and kind of come in with that mindset. I know some people have asked me, oh, should I message recruiters and say I'll work for free? That's kind of already a losing battle at the moment because your mindset is
yeah,
basically saying, can you help me versus can I provide value for you? So you want to come in as saying that, yeah, I might not be the best coder, but if I don't know what this part is, I'll research and figure it out, right? You have to
Right.
be coming in as like the problem solver. So a lot of times I try to tell my the people that I mentor, you gotta change, you gotta flip that narrative. You gotta show them why it is worth investing in you, not saying like, please, like, let me get a
Yeah,
job,
yeah,
right? So I think that's one non-technical thing that I try to kind of push for, because I want them to have confidence when they come into the interview. Because if you don't have confidence, then when you don't know how to solve a problem, you're gonna just start like freaking out and not thinking, and you're gonna ask yourself, "Oh my god, I totally knew that problem,
right.
but I just wasn't confident in myself as a developer to figure it out."
And it's crazy because it doesn't sound fair, but like confidence does play a big part. Even if
Hmm.
you give not the right answer, but you're confident about it, and then you're like, oh, and you're willing to look it up. I think
Right.
it's like super important, because I knew someone who was like more confident than I was, and she was able to get a job. But then when I asked her some questions about technical stuff, she didn't know the answers. I was like, how? Maybe she's a cute girl. I mean, I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That
I mean,
nobody
no comment
hires
on that
because of your
one.
cute. I don't think so. No, if you can't do the job, no one is
Yeah. So
gonna
that's like the first
hire.
thing that I noticed right off the bat is the lack of confidence or lack of belief that they are software engineers. Even if you may not be working professionally, you have to come in with that software developer mindset of, okay, I can help with your company. The second thing or third thing, a little bit more like technical on the technical aspect side, is the second one is they sometimes don't put their projects online and they have it all on
Yeah,
GitHub, which is a big no-no. No one's going to actually do that and download
no
your
one's gonna look at it.
application,
No.
let alone you need to add a domain name, pay the dinos, pay the early investment. You're already trying to get a job, so might as well invest in a little bit on yourself to make sure your stuff looks a little bit professional.
Yeah, and it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the third thing is sometimes I feel you get too caught up on the weeds of things. So I highly recommend just using some kind of template that already exists to make your project stand out. Like, we're
Right.
not all designers, right? We're developers, but some
Yeah.
people are so obsessed about making it pretty to the in their own way, right? They're trying to control everything, but it's a huge waste of time at times, because you want your profile to look good, and there are like industry standards that define what is good, but you're trying to do that all on your own, and
Yeah.
it's counterintuitive in that sense. So I mean, there are a lot more things that we do talk about, and it's really like case by case. Some people, they're really good at interviews, but they are not good at presenting their portfolio. Some people are good at portfolios, but they just lack that confidence. Generally, I wish there was some kind of like secret recipe, but I realize it is kind of somewhat case by case.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I could kind of, through these conversations with my junior developers or aspiring developers, I could build some kind of um, some platform or course that can just, I don't have to do this one on one, because I want to help as many people as
Yeah. You
possible.
want to
But
leverage your
it's
knowledge
just
for
not
sure.
scalable to do it this
No.
way,
No.
and yeah.
And
So that's the one thing. But right now, I'm still in the research phase. I'm still learning a
yeah.
lot from
Same.
other people,
Same.
learning from you, learning from all the other YouTubers that kind of have been it through the gauntlet in some ways or another. And yeah, it's just like just learning and iterating, and hopefully one day that will happen.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. You got good personality for YouTube. I really enjoy your videos. A lot of value.
Thank you.
Say
Likewise.
hello. Say hello. Hey, Luke, what's up? We also have a question here. Creative Code. Hey, Tech, really, which stack do you enjoy most? As if you were to start a personal project, which stack would you choose?
Yeah, for me personally, I would choose probably React with
React number
Next.js.
one. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. Yeah, see,
yeah.
it's the same.
I would I would do React with Next.js, just because Next.js is server-side rendering.
Yep,
And then for a backend, I would probably use Node and Mongo. And it's
yep.
not because I think they're the most industry ready.
It's because you already know JavaScript, bro.
It's because, I mean, for what I want to work on for my like smaller projects, I don't really need relational databasing, so I don't need Postgres
Right,
or
right.
MySQL, and I'm just familiar with Node. I don't want to relearn Go or Ruby on Rails. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just
Something
being
else.
familiar with what I'm close to. Yeah, but everyone
Yeah,
has their own. Uh,
yeah, yeah. You
their
gotta
own
pick something you
use
like.
case, yeah.
for sure. I mean
I'm sure
React
you
for
choose
me
C
number
sharp
one. Yeah.
dot net.
Well, no. I'm doing C sharp. Well, I have personal reasons to do it. Number one, I use it at work right now, so I kind of have to know it. So that right
Hmm.
there is like I have to learn C sharp and ASP.NET. And in terms of C sharp, I only want to focus on building web APIs to which I could connect like React apps. Basically, have the front end and the back end decoupled. But I do
Hmm.
like I'm a React guy number one, and the only reason I am doing C sharp is because at my job I already use it, and there are like other things I like to do. I like to mess around with Unity for fun. Will I ever get a job there? No, but it's kind of a fun way for me to like practice programming. Now with Next.js, just to kind of answer some people who started learning React, they're using a Create React app. The jump to Next.js, it's not that much more difficult. It's just getting used to the routing that they do. So don't be afraid, like, oh, Next.js, it's something crazy. It's not. It's still React. It's easy, not that difficult to learn.
I agree.
Speaking of projects, so like here, let me share my screen here. Um, this is a this is technically a JavaScript project, but is it appropriate for a job interview? So we have a project called "What Would Kanye Say," and then you click the button,
We must and will cure homelessness and hunger. We
and he
have the
will
capability as a species.
and he would add his 2 cents. He would. I don't know why I keep losing the screens and whatever. But anyway, and that like so that's I don't know how to use my own system here. I'm like clicking buttons, but not to derail the conversation while I try to bring you back. That's yeah. I said I derailed the conversation. Here you go. Add to the right. Here we go. Nice. So yeah, that's technically a JavaScript project. It technically showcases that I know how to make a call to an API, but is it an appropriate project to put in your resume?
I think there are ways you can put it in.
Oh my
It wouldn't
God.
be one of those projects I would highlight as my main project. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
could,
yeah, yeah.
if it's like if it's on your portfolio website, you could say fun projects or like weekend projects I've worked on. Something that is very clear that this is just something you've done for fun,
Right.
and it may not be something that it's like, oh, really representative of the full capabilities of your skills. I think you can, but I personally wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't either. Let me just, I don't know, like, I'm still figuring out how stuff works. Let me put you to the right. Does that works? Yeah, that kind of works. I'm going to share my screen here. First, primary display. So the maybe this is, I'm sure you agree with this, but a lot of people ask me, like, when they build projects, they do like little widgets and stuff. So what I would
Right.
recommend is like build something that's kind of useful. Like this is like a side menu off screen, that I built. And the reason why I would say build this first is because this is something you could incorporate into a bigger project. So I'll kind of use this as a quick example. Um, where we are here. So here's a bug tracker I'm building in React. And because I'm too lazy to use Node, because I'm not as awesome as Tech Rally, I cheat. I use Strappy. But here's like a project I'm building. I'm not done with it yet. But what's interesting about this, for my personal little projects, what I do is I basically build them as mini projects. So I built this form. Obviously, it's in React because React is number one. Then I needed to build a table. I built a table in React. And so I'm building these projects individually, but the thing that I look at it, it's all of these things that I'm building individually are the same things I'm gonna use in my bigger project. And so I'm not wasting time building things like I showed originally, the Kanye West quote generator, because I will never ever use this in a project unless I'm making
Mm.
a fan kind of site for um, for Kanye West or something. You know what I mean? It's like it just doesn't make sense. So
Right. Right. I agree with that. It's the bug tracker is just 100x way better than what you just showed with the Kanye West thing. So if you're like, it's like comparing, I don't know, a Ferrari to like a beat up Pinto, I guess. Like the bug tracker is just so much more levels of complexity, and yeah, it really just showcases your skill as a software developer. So I do agree. Like if you're comparing those two applications, I would definitely make sure that the bug tracker is the first thing that the user sees.
Yeah, and so that's important. Just make sure you guys not building too many like toy apps. Like you could do it on your personal time, but the way I look at it, maybe because I'm older, I'm like, I should only be building things that I'm actually going to use in my bigger project or in the job that I'm trying to get. And for instance, if I was trying to get if I was trying to get a job in game development, I wouldn't be building websites. I would be building games. That's a totally different skill that you have to work, and it makes sense. So let's see here. I have a question. Just started learning web development. Should I keep track of my advancements and include the code I write during this period in my portfolio alongside some ideas I have? What do you think?
I don't really understand what the question is.
I think I think what he's saying, and correct us if I'm wrong, but I think he's saying like kind of you know talk about your journey as you're learning to code, and then showcase where you started and where you're going. That's how I'm reading that sentence. I could be completely wrong though.
Yeah, I mean, do you mind leaving that up again just so I can read it again?
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, 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 yeah. It just
Include the
disappears after 30
Yeah, so I
seconds.
think they were saying also including the code. So maybe I'm not really sure what you're referencing in that sense. If you're referring to writing a blog article about what you've been building and writing, including the code that way, then most definitely. But I'm not really sure how else you would. I think what you're saying, you want to put broken projects into your portfolio, and
Yeah,
maybe
don't do
that's
that.
not a good idea.
Yeah.
But if it's more along the lines of tracking your progress and letting people know through some blog articles, like, hey, I built out this authentication functionality and this is how I've done it, then yes, go ahead. But you probably don't want to add broken projects to your portfolio, because if a recruiter or a hiring manager goes on it and they just see that the app is broken, then you, yeah, that's kind of pointless.
Yeah, they don't want to see anything broken or because they literally want to see that things work. So it's better
Exactly.
to have fewer things in your portfolio that work than a thousand different things that have a chance of making you look bad. Speaking of blog articles and stuff like that, that's and again, I'm only doing this. I don't think everybody has to do this, but like I said, I'm 40 years old. I'm constantly trying to kind of promote my authority as a developer, just so people have an easier chance to find me. So I know Coder Foundry talked about starting a blog. I started a web development blog, and here's one that I wrote. And my first article here basically talks about how I created a form if my internet worked and my computer would load. And it just outlines the steps as the code example. And I'm a terrible writer, but that's something I started doing. What do you think? Is that something that everybody should do, or people that have like a certain goal in mind?
I think it's a must if you're just starting off. I don't write
Okay.
as many blogs as I used to, but I
Since you
do a
work
lot
at
of YouTube. I
Amazon,
do a
bro.
lot of YouTube content. So I guess that's my way of kind of sharing information to my audience. But
Yeah,
I find that my platform on YouTube reaches a lot more people than something I would write in a blog, and probably yours is as well. But you
100%.
kind of have to start somewhere. So I
Yeah,
totally get it, and that's something that I'm potentially might want to do in the future as well. Yeah, I'm not a good writer either, and
yes,
if
I
anything, it
suck.
takes a lot more time for me to write. But
Yep.
not everyone can start a YouTube channel and gain a lot of traction. It took us a really long
Oh
time to
my
get to where we're at right
God.
now.
Oh,
So
you wouldn't think so. Oh my God. It took me longer to get to my first 100 than it took me to get to my 1,000.
yeah,
Think about that.
yeah.
That's insane. Um,
But it's
but
crazy
what?
because the next 500 is so much faster
Yeah,
than the what if
yeah,
you get a
yeah.
thousand.
That, which
So
is good. We could do this. We're gonna take over the world, you and I. So the reason why I have the blog is a couple of reasons, but one of them is I find out when you write something and try to explain something in a written form, it really focuses you to think about the thing that you're trying to explain and teach. So I
right,
kind of like that from the learning standpoint. Um,
you're right.
so and let's see here. Let's see any comments. Oh, here we go here. What are some common reasons for beginners to quit? I saw someone quit in frustration because they tried to learn so many things at once. Yeah, 100%.
You want to go first, and I'll go after.
You could go first, and then I'll try to make my answer better than yours. Just saying. Just saying.
Follow Tech Rally channel. No, I think there are a lot of common reasons why beginners do quit, and I think the first one is they don't know why they want to get into coding in the first place. And sometimes they just think, I talk about this a lot too, is they think about money. They think about career, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make 100K a year. And when they actually start coding, they realize it's really hard. It actually requires a lot of work, and they expect this instant ROI. I With coding, it's so different because you can't. It's not like a classroom where you take a class for 3 months or 2 years, and then all of a sudden you become a software developer. It's what you learn through the classroom and then how you apply it. But a lot of people, they get so frustrated when they spend hours and hours trying to debug something, and then it only fixed this one small thing. And rather than looking at it from the perspective of saying, oh wow, I accomplished this and I fixed this, they're saying, why did I waste 5 hours trying to fix this? This is such a waste of time.
Yeah.
And that mindset difference is what makes someone go from a beginner developer saying that, oh, I actually enjoy doing this and this is what I want to do, versus someone that's like, I actually don't enjoy wasting my time doing this and I wish I just got it working right away, right? So a lot of common mistakes I see is they just have that wrong mentality of solving problems and willing to put in the hours to solve those problems.
Yeah, kind of adding to that, I like when you're working at your job, is it like someone assigns a task for you and you just know exactly what to do and you code it right away in the next 5 minutes? Or is that a process and a struggle that sometimes you go through? Because I think a lot of people watch these tutorials that, are perfectly made and tested, that they think they should be able to code just as easily as they watch someone on a tutorial.
Yeah, that's completely false. Everyone goes through struggles. Everyone goes through variable naming issues or something is undefined. It's a mixture of making a lot of mistakes and reading a lot of errors and handling it that way. But I think sometimes people just don't want to see red because they
Right.
associate red with bad. But that's just part of the coding journey.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the process. And even some of the people who are more senior, they might get stuck with like a solution. The only difference between someone who's senior versus junior, they just have the experience to figure out much quicker the solution that they're looking for. And guys, I just want to thank you all. I always do this because I'm always amazed how many people come in and watch our live streams. Without you guys, our channels would not exist. So we really appreciate you guys. And because of that, don't be shy. Ask your questions, comments, whatever you guys want to talk about in the comment section below, because we are here not just for us to have a conversation, but for us to answer questions that you guys might have. And I'll go first. I'll ask the next question.
Oh wait,
So
you didn't even answer. You didn't even answer the common mistakes for beginners.
common mistakes for beginners. When learning, why do people quit? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the reason why a lot of people quit is because they underestimate how difficult learning to code is. Especially
Mm.
what happens, you'll do a couple of tutorials and then you'll realize quickly that a lot of tutorials, even on Udemy, they're all like level 1 beginner tutorials. And after you do like 10 or like whatever, or 5 even, you're going to see that a lot of them repeat the same stuff you already know. And some of the more complex questions or answers, you just won't be able to figure it out. I'll give you one example. Like recently, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Material UI. It's like a front end like thing for React. Looks beautiful, and they have a drop down with check boxes. I want you to
Hmm.
Google how to make Material UI drop down with check boxes from scratch. There's literally nothing about it. There's some examples, but they're not what you're looking for because it's not as easy as you would think, and it's something that is a more complex answer, and you actually have to figure out how to do it. And so you realize when you start getting to those points, you're like, oh man, it's not as simple as you just have one input field. It's more complex than that. And once people start to see the complexity of things, that they have to like figure
They
things out on
start
their
freaking
own,
out and just
yeah,
want
they
to give
start
up.
freaking out because it's not as easy as what it is. And it's funny, at first I was like, building HTML and CSS site is so difficult, and now I'm like, it's the easiest thing ever. There's like other, basically it just constant learning. That's all I'm going to say. And you just have to
Yeah.
have realistic expectations about it, and that's basically it. My long-winded answer. So yeah, so where do you go to learn new stuff? That was my question that I wanted to ask first before you
Where
interrupted the host. just messing, bro. Just listen. If,
This is so much fun. I love
if
this.
you're not having fun, there's no point of doing live streams. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
You
that is
know.
true. I mean, lately I've just everybody has I've been talking to through these one-on-ones have been so much fun. And not saying the
Yeah.
others weren't fun, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's me opening up or
Yeah.
whatever, but I'm really having a lot of fun. So
Yeah. That's
the
awesome.
question about where do I learn? I
Yeah.
read a lot of documentation these days,
Yes.
but it took me a really long time to transition from, oh, is there a tutorial on YouTube about this,
Yeah.
to actually reading the documentation. I do admit that I do still look at YouTube tutorials just because I like to see how other people,
Point of view, right?
because yeah, other people's point of view, because maybe they see something that I don't see. And a lot of the people that I do YouTube, it's not even specific YouTubers. I just literally type AWS something something
Right.
something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, like they discover something that I didn't see. And because sometimes when you're an experienced developer, sometimes you're a little confident in yourself of interpreting documentation and then just starting
Yeah.
your thing right away. But documentation is long for a reason, and you might be skipping something that could make your life a lot easier. Maybe you're creating all these stupid utility functions to
Right.
do everything and
That
breaking
stuff
it
that
down to
already
whatever you
exists. Yeah.
want, and then they're like, oh, by the way, there's this one function that exists that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
does exactly what you're looking for to do. And I'm like, oh my god, why did I waste my time on this? But yeah, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I still watch tutorials like on Udemy because I want to be able to familiar with like the courses that I take because I have a lot of them to be able to answer questions about them. But in terms
Mhm.
of like self-learning, it just takes once you get to a certain level, like maybe you're like a little bit more than a beginner, you understand a programming language. It's just much faster to look up a blog article or the documentation and get to
Mhm.
exactly where you need to be to get the knowledge that you need in like the fastest time possible. But because if you think about a video, scanning through a video is way harder than scanning through a page of written text, you know? So
Yeah, that's true. I have a question for you. When do you feel like, well, at the moment, do you feel like you're a experienced mid to senior level developer, like beginner to mid developer? Like, how do you
bro,
define those attributes to
it's
yourself?
so hard, like, because I don't even remember how I became from not knowing to knowing stuff. It was just this weird
Right.
transition where I was like, I don't know nothing, I don't know nothing, I don't know nothing, and then I'm like, oh, I kind of get it.
I
So
do know a lot. Yeah.
I keep telling myself I'm still a beginner, and my
Hmm.
friend tells me he's like, you're like at least mid level, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm a beginner. He's like, no, you're just comparing. You have no one to compare yourself to, so you think that, but you're more of a mid level guy. And so for me, it's hard because I have, um, like the imposter syndrome hardcore. So I think it's for like I don't know how to answer that question, but because of that, I think I always strive to learn more. And a lot of people ask me like, do you like how much money you make? And I'm like, to me, like that's not my goal. My goal is to become a better programmer, and then the money will come. And a lot of people, when they're starting out, have to understand that if you're a good programmer, good developer, whatever, you're going to get to where you need to go. And let me just say hi here. Web Dev Junkie, what's up, buddy? He has an amazing channel, by the way, and he does some good tutorials. So if you haven't seen Web Dev Junkie's channel, check him out. Really nice guy, and he's awesome because he also joins us on this live stream right now. That's it. That's how I judge people's characters. It's like if you come
Helping
watch my
the
stream, no, I'm
small
just
YouTuber community
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I'm just kidding. But he does good content. Definitely check out. I watched some of his JavaScript stuff. So let's see here. More comments. Your story of how you were rejected several times before landing at FanGig showed me that rejection is a necessary indication of your skill. Yes. And Tech Rally answered this. Talk about the process.
Yeah, I mean, I think rejection is just part of the game, especially because I was pretty rusty coming out of a boot camp. I mean, not boot camp, right? Coming out of my work because I've been working there for 4 or 5 years. Some people that actually are moving jobs every year and a half or 2 years. The reason why they're so good at switching jobs is because they're switching jobs and preparing for interviews. So they're just becoming really good interviewers to a certain extent. So I got kind
Right.
of lucky in the sense that maybe one of the jobs I really, really wanted was at the end of my interview process. And I learned a lot from those mistakes that I've made. Sometimes I came in a little too overconfident, not really preparing myself from a technical perspective. Sometimes I didn't even prepare a good story to talk about. Because, when you're working at a company for that long, you forget a lot of things of what you've accomplished and whatnot. So I had to literally write down on a piece of paper or a Google Doc of all the things that I've done, how I got it done, why I got it done, and why it benefited the company. So just having that whole package during the interview process is what really helped me. But I didn't realize that until I got a few rejections of where those kind of stories were had those missing gaps and whatnot. And it just overall, it was just a good learning experience. Like you fall down, you get back up, you fall down, get back up, and you just try to be a little bit better after each interview.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I was doing an interview and I was doing great on the actual coding part. And then they started asking me exactly the questions you're talking about. And I did not have a prepared answer. I kind of froze. So I was like, I did. And I was just like freaked out. I think it's just because it caught me by surprise and I wasn't prepared for it.
Mhm.
So I think, like, to your point, is that writing those things out, having a story to tell before you go to the interview is super, super important.
Yeah. And one of the things I kind of wanted to mention after your kind of imposter syndrome thing is I know it's not about money, but at the same time, I think there is something about your confidence as a developer that justifies that kind of pay, right? Because then
Right, 100%.
you'll be, and it's not even being like I want to get this money. I think it's just more about if you have the skills, you should demand that type of
Oh
money.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely ask for what you're worth, and definitely negotiate your salary to get the highest possible thing possible.
Right.
But don't, like, when I was referring to that, I was referring to the idea, don't get into coding just because of the money because it's too difficult. But when you are applying to jobs, definitely ask for what you're worth.
'Cause-
Here,
Right, because
go
you'll
ahead.
be really surprised of how much. And to your point, like, because you seem like a person that studies outside of work and just always grinding and learning something new. What you do within the 1 year or 2 years can be so much more than what someone else does within 1 2 years that only does coding when they're working or whatnot, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're leveling up yourself, but sometimes it's like you're your own worst critic, so you never
right.
feel like you deserve
Yeah, I
this
have the
amount
point for
or
sure.
whatever. But I
It's
think
a
this
good
is
point.
another thing that I do with my my one-on-one coaching is, hey, like you are a mid-level developer, like your friends are telling you, you should be making this amount of range, and then you could like based on the work output, you could kind of see, yeah, maybe I do deserve this much more, or maybe I do deserve this much more. It's one of those things where you kind of need to self-realize because no one's gonna do it for you. I realized in this game, no one's gonna want to pay you more in general unless
You ask for it.
you like actually push for it, right? So
And
I
you
think
push
that's
for it.
important
Yeah.
to think about.
So we got a question. What does your workday look like in terms of a task? For example, 50% writing new code, 30% fixing old code, tickets, 10% meetings, 10 chat, email. Does it change from junior, mid to senior? Great question, Albert. You can
Yeah.
start with that first because you have a little bit more work experience than I do, and I work at a horror show, so I'll go last.
Yeah, I think at my old job, I mean, and I'm still new to this job, so I'm still trying to get my bearings around how everything is working. But at my old job, I would say it was pretty much 70 to 75% coding and then 25% meetings and whatnot. Luckily, I wasn't in one of those like leadership roles where I had to be in so many meetings, and that was great for me because then I could just focus on coding. But overall, I think that's the general gist. Is I spent a lot of time coding and not as many meetings. We just had sprint planning meetings, which was once every 2 weeks, and then just random side meetings here and there just to iron out a few details, but nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask a question. In terms of like what to build or what to code, how do you find out what you should be working on, and how detailed are the information is to get you started, if that makes sense?
Right, right. And hopefully you're working on a project that is pretty well defined by the product manager. So when you have a product manager that obviously if you have a good product manager, you have a lot of these discussions beforehand. So even not during the sprint planning meeting, but there are side meetings before the sprint planning meetings that kind of give you a gentle introduction to what new feature or what new product you're going to be building, and you kind of read this prepared documentation or like a design doc, whatever you want to call it, to get you ready to understand, is this potentially possible? What roadblocks do you anticipate? You're having these conversations before you start deciding that this is going to go into the sprint, right? And then hopefully by then you like iron out what tickets you want to create. And this is kind of a mixture. Some companies do this differently. Like the product manager writes all the tickets. Some companies, the developers write the tickets. But these tickets should be created before the sprint starts, and even before the sprint planning meeting, because this is kind of what the hub of all these tickets encompass of what you're trying to do to get this project done. And then eventually it hits the sprint planning saying, is this ready for sprint? You say yes, you take a few tickets, you put it in and say, I'm going to accomplish this in 2 weeks or whatever. So that's kind of what the structure of how my old company was doing, and we were getting really good at that. My new company is a little bit different, and I'm just trying to adjust to that new format. But every company is a little different. But what about you?
Before I give my answer, just to follow up on when you started your first junior role, um, what support did your company give you to kind of help you get acclimated to your job role, or when you were getting stuck?
Yes, so that is really important. And to me, the junior developer is kind of very, very lost when they first start off. So I think it's really important to do a lot of pair programming, which I really appreciate, and that's something I got when I joined my company. And I know not all companies are like that, but in general, I like to do a lot of pair programming for at least 2 weeks every day if we can, just because it's like one of that initial investments that a senior dev can put in, where they'll stop asking you questions because you've given them as much information as you can the first 2 weeks. But obviously they can ask questions, but it's just one of those things where, like maybe if you're not putting up that initial investment, it gets harder near the end when they're doing the pull requests or whatever, and they don't feel confident in their skills. So what I like to do is do a lot of pair programming, and I don't know if every company can do that, but I like to personally do that.
Yeah, so at my company, we got like all together probably like 12 developers, like
Mhm.
five senior guys, and then a bunch of new guys that constantly rotate. I think because of the stress. But in terms of like nobody lasts a long time, because when I first started, they literally threw me into the deep water, which shocked the hell out of me because I was lost for the whole month, and I don't know how I didn't get fired. And when I hear other people talk about all these things like defining your goal, having like good project managers and all stuff, and pair programming, like I don't know that because we didn't have that, which is unfortunate
Right.
that was my first experience. But with that being said, like I could see how all those things play integral part to help junior developers to make that transition to the next step. So it's
Right.
kind of cool that you have that. And most of you guys, and I talked to a bunch of other people that say my experience that I have is not normal. So most of you are going to probably have experience that Tech Rally had. We have Kevin Doyle, hold up, versus to the death. Of course, that's what we're doing. We're trying to see whose head's gonna explode first based on the compliments they received. That's how we do it. Tech Rally, you have the most beautiful voice on YouTube.
I am trying to be a little less, I don't know, sleepy with my voice, and hopefully that's kind of
It's
been
not
working.
sleepy.
But
It's
yeah,
great.
it's
It's good.
great.
You're like,
No, I
like
appreciate that. I've
it's
been
very personal. It's like
Someone
I
told me to
got.
get into voice acting. I thought that was very
Yeah,
interesting.
I wanted to say that to you, but I didn't want your head to get bigger with your ego. You know what I mean? You're gonna get
I
so
think I'm
too
winning
big
this
for
battle.
YouTube. I know you're gonna get too big for YouTube. You're gonna move on to doing like voiceovers. Welcome.
Tech Rally
You know?
voiceovers
Yeah,
channel.
exactly, exactly. Give them big tickets and tell them good luck. That's basically how my
I mean, that's
job
pretty,
is.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
basically what happened to you. And the reason why I think the pairing is so important is I like to think about it as paving it forward. So I'm really expecting everyone that I paired with to do the same thing for anyone that's coming up and trying to learn how to code, because we both know how hard it is to, number one, even get a job, but after getting that job, it just feels so daunting to see a huge production level code base, and you're just kind of like, what the heck is all of this? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to run my server locally. All of that stuff is
oh my
super
God. Yeah.
complicated, and just having that little bit of assistance can go such a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, before we continue, I just want to say because Kevin reminded me we both of us, we really appreciate Coder Foundry. They have a really good channel. They do have an in-person boot camp. But right now, regardless if you're just starting out or been learning, they are having like the most amazing deal where you could get a self-paced boot camp course for a whole year, but you only pay $129. So if you go to learn.coderfoundry.com, you could check out their landing page. They have amazing instructors. These are not YouTubers, well, except Bobby, because he has to run the bootcamp. He's the face of the company. But you know, these guys have over 20 years of development. So if you're looking to learn full stack development with ASP.NET and all these amazing technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, C#, SQL, Net5, the new thing that's happening now, Bootstrap, and interview skills, go check out their page. You'll be building a bug tracker, Movie Pro, and a blog. I already bought this course because I just like what they do. But for now, look, this is almost done. You have 9 days, but for $129 for 1 year, that's an amazing deal. I mean, you could buy 10 Udemy courses, but this is a one package course for $129 will teach you full stack development. I kind of wanted to add that today and say that to you guys because there's a lot of great places to learn, but a lot of the places the information is not nicely packed. And for this price, they're teaching you the same thing you're going to learn at the bootcamp. So check it out. It's an amazing place. But I didn't want to forget because that is an amazing deal that you guys should be part of. So that's
Can I include my my giveaway link as well?
Thank you. Yeah, if you're gonna see a lot of like emails that have 1, 2, 3 at the end of it, don't mind it. It wasn't me. I just tried to win. But go ahead. You're gonna say.
No, I mean likewise. I do have a course giveaway, and right now, how I've done it is I basically had a Google form where whoever wants to sign up answers a few questions, and I kind of want to just hear your story. I think it's a little too easy for anyone to just follow Bobby's Twitter handle and follow Kevin's Twitter handle and just retweet and then get randomly selected. I think there is something to say about someone that could share their story and actually explain why they want to get this course, right? It's just that extra barrier to entry to see, like, can you like go the extra step? So right now I do have about 27 people that did respond, which is crazy because I think at that time when you were on Coder Foundry's channel, it was like
16 or something.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a really tough choice. Now I'm gonna have to read all 27 responses, but I am also giving away one course and maybe originally I was gonna do it till the $129 offer was over, but now that I think about it, I might close it off on like Monday or Tuesday. Yep. That way, if someone doesn't get selected, they still have an opportunity to buy it at the $129 price.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, so I could post the link. I don't know if it's gonna get banned. Can I
put
try?
The link if you might have to write it. Yeah, just post the link, see what happens, or send it to me. If I post it, maybe it's different, but I have no idea. But
I just posted it in the chat right now, so hopefully it works.
Yeah,
but yeah, let me know your story. I think it's really important to share why you believe. Oh, I don't think that works. Crap.
Send it to me. Let me try. But there's a.
Oh, it does work. Okay.
Okay, it worked. Nice. It just took a while.
So 1 in 27 odds right now. I mean,
it's pretty good.
That's a pretty crazy odd that you could get selected.
Listen,
so.
I'm just gonna say this right now though. Like you only got one course to give away, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got one course to give away. Guess who got 2 courses to give away?
I know.
How?
But
How? What? No, I'm not hurt. I'm not upset.
We are the loyal, YouTube.
I'm not upset at all.
Subscribers to Coder Foundry, it's really
it's messed up.
Disappointing. It is that disappointing.
You know what? But here's the thing. We're gonna get bigger than that guy. We're not even gonna name drop his name. We're gonna get bigger than that guy. Next time they have a course giveaway, we both gonna get 10 courses. That's all I'm saying right now. I'm just gonna say that right now. Listen, Paul, the CF hype man. It's not that I'm a Coder Foundry hype man. It's that when I see people do good work and provide good value, like I am gonna like say good things about him. I'm never gonna like tell you about trash. There's plenty of people on YouTube that I just don't care for that might be in the same, kind of demographic as Tech Rally and because I really, life is short, so I just want to surround myself with cool people. That's why we got Tech Rally. That's why we have Coder Foundry guys. Coder Face, I like that guy. Hate him or love him, he knows how to hustle, and he is very smart when it comes to entrepreneurial. And I know he has a persona that attracts certain types of people, but that guy is smart. He knows what's up. I really respect him, and I do kind of see what he's doing. And out of a lot of YouTubers, with the amount of viewers he has, and I would only assume he's making a killing. He's a smart businessman, and he's got good coding stuff too. But the whole idea is that, I just want to surround myself with awesome people. The short of it here.
Yeah, I completely agree. All of those channels, they definitely have a... Kevin's going to enter.
Kevin's going to enter. Yeah, you should. You should. Make the chances for people, less likely to win. Guys, Kevin's not allowed to join. I'm going to show up he's not... We're going to ban him if he joins. That's it. We only want legitimate people to win here.
I agree. I can't agree more. Yeah.
He'll tell us the whole story one day. Man, one day I'm going to hold you to it. No more taco money until you tell me. That's it.
Are you going to document your journey on how to, while you're taking the course and everything, or?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. My plan is, because what I want to do is obviously take the course, and I want to document my journey, but also, if people ask on my channel questions, I want to know what I'm doing to be able to give them answers regarding to the course, kind of give back to the community. But for me, I committed that C# is definitely going to be my backend language. Since I already know JavaScript, Node.js is a must. It's a no-brainer. Familiar with JavaScript language, so I wanted to pick another language. And the two choices I had was Python or C#. So I suck at math, so I was like, Python off the table, just because a lot of the jobs are data science related, web scraping, all that other good stuff. For web development, I wouldn't recommend Python. That's just my thing for a backend language. I know people use Django, right, but that's what it is. So it's right up my alley right now. But all my jobs that I'm applying to currently, they're all React jobs, because that's my main thing. But I do want to put on my resume, I'm also familiar with backend development, and I know C# and Node.js and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
And
I think it's going to have the course itself, I don't think it's going to be picture perfect necessarily, but because obviously when you start off a new and shining platform, there's going to be some rough patches. So I think that's something that the people need to understand as well. But at that price point, come on, how can you complain about those things? So hopefully they deliver. And I think there are ways that they could structure their Discord channel to make it a lot easier for people to engage with each other. And maybe, Kevin, you want to hit me up for some consulting fees, because I have some great ideas, but
right.
But really, I think there's something about a coding bootcamp in general where it's unique in a sense that it's creating camaraderie. I can't even say that word, but you're creating a cohort. You're creating a cohort of some sort. And I think what makes a bootcamp very enjoyable is that experience of being around other people, right? So if you could replicate that somehow, I think that's going to be really important.
Yeah, Kevin, I don't know if you're in the chat still, but if you want to do a three-way on the interview, I'd love to test that feature on my computer. Just trying, but no pressure. We have DGNT. Sup, guys? Yo, I totally get it. What's up, bro? Chilling, straight chilling here. What are you drinking over there, Takra? Look at you. What's that, vodka and cranberry juice?
Have you heard of Izzy?
Yeah, it's good. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good. I got a Costco pack, so I've just been drinking that these days.
Yeah, so Kevin's got a question for you. Alex, have you worked on anything cool at Amazon that you're allowed to tell us about? The fact that you work at Amazon is pretty cool enough. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yes, that is all I can say at the moment.
That's your answer? Oh, I'm just
kidding. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot share what I'm working on. That is the life you live.
Yeah, it's
I'm working on Coder Foundry stuff, actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, totally get it. It's yeah. The stuff that I work on, I can't talk about either too much because
Hmm.
I work at NASA. True. Just kidding. I don't work at NASA, you guys. Come on.
You work at
So,
SpaceX, right?
yeah, SpaceX with Elon. We hung out last weekend, you know. And
Yeah.
either of you have any thoughts on Svelte? I keep hearing a lot of good things about it. Because you're the guest, Tech Rally. You could go first.
Oh, is this how it works? I
I'm
didn't
just
want
gonna
to just
give you all
steal
the
all.
hard
I didn't want
questions.
to
All the
steal
hard
all your
questions.
thunder, so I've been kind of just letting you, giving the
No, I don't need.
opportunity
I don't
to
need
answer the questions.
thunder.
But
I don't need thunder. I need to hear your answer, and then I give a better answer, and so I look smarter. Come on.
I really like Svelte, but I wouldn't learn it as a first coding framework because there's just no jobs for it at the moment. So it really just depends on your experience, and it will be a fun thing to learn and fun thing to build on, but don't put all your eggs in that basket as the first framework to learn. If you're gonna learn a framework as the first framework, either learn React, Vue, or Angular. But I would even just go straight into React, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I was gonna say my three top frameworks: React, and React. Those are the top three you should learn.
You
Um,
don't even give an option.
the
Now,
issue with what Svelte, I can't even pronounce it. It's good, but it's not widely adopted by a lot of companies. So if you're just starting out and you're looking to get a job, it'll be very hard to
right,
find one that is using that. So
right,
that's super important. Let's see. Hey, I'll better test at that price. Yeah, there you go.
exactly.
Uh, yep, yep. This is Tech Rally just revealed your salary. My salary. Man, if you guys knew how much you
Like
made,
a
you would
dollar.
laugh and cry all at the same time. I like this one. Tech Rally getting lit off that juice. Look at
No,
him.
next
Look
next
at how
time, I'm
happy
just
he
gonna
looks.
drink water. People think it's always something different.
Listen, I'm Russian. If you drink vodka, I'm just gonna assume you're drinking vodka. You
Does
know?
anyone actually do live streams like while drinking? I've never seen anyone do
No,
it.
no, I wouldn't do
You know,
that because
I wouldn't even do it either. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
because
why you have a covered. You have your cup covered. Mine's red.
yeah, like I'm drinking. No, I for this stream I always drink coffee. That's just
Oh,
my drink
really?
of choice. Yeah, because I'm crazy addicted to coffee. I should probably cut down. Yeah, I don't drink much, like at all anymore. It's just, you know, that's just get the headaches and stuff. It's not worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, I got my
Yeah.
two moderators on your on their live stream right
Oh,
now.
awesome, cool.
Yeah, DGNT and DJ Norris. That's why they're giving me a really hard time.
That's awesome. No, thanks for being here, guys. Web Dev Junkie, I'm waiting for Swell to become popular. One day, we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. Yep, same here, DJ Norris. It's not Swell time yet. It's a bad joke, but I was gonna say it's a swole time and make a flex,
Swole
but you know, pretty swollen from all the cakes I had today. Listen. If you guys are not laughing, you're at the wrong stream here. But hey, guys, let's ask some more questions in the comment. I know Tech Rally's gotta head out soon. I
Yeah, I think
definitely
I got
wanna,
about like 10, 15 minutes if
yeah,
that's okay with you. And
yeah.
then
So
we'll...
let's do 10, 15 minutes. Let's ask some last questions for the stream and take advantage of Tech Rally being here. By the way, guys, without you, this live stream, my channel, his channel would not exist. So we really appreciate all of you guys tuning in and watching and listening. So let's ask last few questions. Could be about anything, like anything you guys want. And we'll do last 10, 15 minutes and call it a night.
Wait, you're
Otherwise,
not gonna keep going? I thought you would
going,
keep
bro.
going.
I might, I might not.
You
I don't
should.
know. I know I should.
You should. I
Listen,
mean, it's the
I'm
coding
trying
after
to
30,
manage
so.
my time. Listen, I'm open for everybody. I want everybody to have a good time and have fun. And so I appreciate you guys coming in.
All I'm saying is I streamed yesterday for 2 hours. So, if you want to, compete with my channel and make sure we're like up to, keeping each other accountable, you
Yeah,
should also do 2
exactly.
hours.
Yeah, filming a video and using the stream as the background. I hope that's okay. Yes, it's okay. I'm not gonna sue you just because Tech Rally said you're okay. Listen, we do it very simple here on this show. If anybody has a problem with me, there's plenty places you could have amateur bouts like Logan Paul and that other guy. So anybody that wants to box me in a amateur match, that's how we solve our arguments on this show. You know, I'm just saying. Like,
I don't want to. I mean, you did jujitsu, so boxing might be a better choice.
well, I did MMA.
Oh
and
my
Muay
God!
Thai.
Never
Yeah,
mind
so
then.
I'm going to see if I have a video from one of my training that I did for fun.
There's a UFC fight this weekend or today too as well.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time. Now I'm like, this whatever. Yeah, trying to forget that life. Yeah, I'll show you, like, see if I have a little teaser somewhere in a moment when I find it. You guys, let's check, let's talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a late night 1:30 a.m. stream with him.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Nice.
crazy. Yeah, this week has been really crazy with the live streams. I did one with you today, did one by
That's
myself yesterday,
That's awesome.
and then one on Thursday. I'm socialed out.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Here's.
No, it's so fun. I like it.
This is a fun one. Can you box Tech Rally? No, because we're friends. We're not gonna box Tech Rally here. Unless he
Does it
wants
work?
to. You know, I'm not gonna
That's
say
what I
no.
was gonna say.
Yeah. Let's see if I
No,
have.
are you sharing your video?
I'm gonna try. I gotta turn the volume off because I'm pretty sure the song that I used is not the. Where's the volume button? How is there no volume button this here? Let me hold on. When the loss, I'll share in a second. You could keep talking. Oh. How do you turn the volume down? Jesus Christ! This, I don't understand why people make video players where the volume button doesn't work. It's just like makes no sense to me. Okay, let's see here. Okay, here we go, guys. This is gonna be ridiculous. Let's see if you guys could. Oh man, I gotta move it to this screen. I don't know if you guys can you see my screen. I can't see it. Oh, I gotta share my screen. See, I'm still learning how to use this wonderful software that I have. Here we go. Make it full
Oh
screen.
shoot! Look at this guy.
This is me having fun. That's me doing a little bit of boxing and Muay Thai just for fun. Back in the day, like people like, he must be full of crap, making stuff up, probably giving us wrong advice about coding and stuff like that. But, because you have nothing better to do. This is, it's like,
The kick though.
seriously, you got to add the flashy stuff. But this was like back in the day. Oh, this is actually a full video. Oh, yeah. This is what my life used to be. I don't even remember, like, oh, this is just like training. But yeah, so like the idea is, it's like, this is where I came from. I used to be in MMA and boxing and jiu-jitsu. This used to be my career, and due to injuries, due to other stuff, and the fact that this is something I wouldn't be able to do with the pandemic, COVID-19. I would definitely be unemployed at this point. And so like I wanted to switch to do something that I could do from my computer and and have the flexibility. And I think I made the smart choice because I have a lot of friends that own martial arts schools, and when the pandemic happened, a lot of them, like some of them went out of business, and majority of them lost like 60% of their students, which is insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so I'm so thankful and lucky that I was able to kind of make this career switch and do something that like allows me to work remotely and regardless when anything is up.
You kind of look like Chael Sonnen in that video. Did anyone ever say that?
Yeah, no, I love Chen Sonnen. Chels, I can't pronounce his name. Chels Sonnen. He has a great show too on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
This one. He has another one who knows how to talk the talk. He's amazing. Let's see here. Would you say there's a coder programmer personality type, and do you think it matters to succeed in programming space? That's a great question. I'm going to pass it to Tech Rally.
Do you think it matters to see? I feel like it's changing a little bit because I've been around a lot of brilliant developers that were kind of difficult to work with, and I'm being nice about this. They were very difficult to work with, and it is cool that they know their stuff, and they could get away with a lot of things, but eventually it just wears people out and you can't deal with them no matter how smart of a developer they are. So what I like to preach on my channel and what I like to preach in general is just show some empathy. It's so much easier to do it that way and always have the beginner's mentality, because it's so easy to just be like, oh, why don't you get this? Why don't you understand this? And what I found to be very helpful for my career is being just nice to people. So I like to be around people, not just like smart developers, but really nice people that know how to code, not the other way around. So yeah, I find a lot of value from that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in terms of personality, do you mean for like yourself or just in general? There's definitely a lot of personalities with big egos that are difficult to work
Exactly.
at, and it's like actually annoying to work with them, and you're actually less productive in that type of team. But in terms of, let's say, if you're learning to code, do you have to have a personality or affinity towards coding? And I think it's a lot of different people are able to do it. I don't think it's the personality. I think it's, are you willing to sit in front of the computer and struggle with something for a long period of time? Is that something that
Yeah,
annoys
okay,
you,
I see.
or you do find you're like boring? Because for me, like I could sit with a problem for a couple of hours, 8 hours, 16 hours, it doesn't matter. And for me, like I seem extroverted, but that's just because I taught martial arts for over 20 years. I know how to speak, but inside I'm introverted. In my personal life, I'm actually really quiet. And so for me, it fits, you know what I mean? And so I think you do have to just ask yourself, are you willing to get stuck on something and kind of struggle through it? Are you willing to spend time reading the documents and stuff and trying to figure stuff out? I think that's important to know.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, it's that, I guess that personality type of being okay with being okay. Oh, like not okay. Yeah, yeah, being okay with
Yeah,
not
yeah,
being
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So, guys, let's ask some last questions here for last few
yeah. I
minutes.
got about 5, 6 minutes for sure. Let's
Yeah, what do you
wind it
got more
down.
important than this live stream? Come on. What do you got?
I have to have a social life, my friend.
Social.
I
Yeah,
I streamed yesterday for 2 hours.
yeah, I'm just, bro, I'm teasing. Yeah, you definitely have to have a balance and social life because it's very important. Um, you know, and
Yeah.
so what do you do, speaking of that, like how do you spend your time outside of coding, or how do you balance your work and social life? Because you have your job, you're trying to build a YouTube channel, and like I saw on your YouTube channel that you have a podcast that you do with a friend of yours. I don't know if that's something you try to build out even more, because that also takes time. So how do you manage all that stuff? How do you juggle everything together?
It's really hard, honestly, and I wish I didn't put myself in this position at times. I just want to finish work and just relax, play some Warzone, whatever, and chill. But to me, it's just about making things a priority. And if it's not a priority, then you just don't do it. And that's fine, but you can't complain about it. Right
Right.
now, a lot of my stuff is focus on work because that's the most important thing. But then secondary priority is trying to grow this channel. And I talk about it in my why I was like really thinking about quitting YouTube was I think my scope of why I did YouTube was starting to change, where I was like looking at numbers more than why I actually started the channel, which was helping aspiring developers break into tech. So for me, it's just understanding that things are gonna have to take the back seat while others will take the front seat. So right now,
Right.
I'm not doing the podcast with my roommate actually as much anymore, and just so I could focus more on the YouTube stuff. So that's the thing I had to sacrifice. And I actually use Notion a lot. And what Notion does is kind of just like an organizer of my thoughts. So I just know that on Monday I need to do this, on Tuesday I need to do this, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I have monthly goals where I in this month I want to accomplish this, and then I have yearly goals. So hopefully, I just like coding, I kind of break it down of, oh, yearly I want to accomplish this. Monthly, I'm going to try to accomplish this in April, May, or June. And then on the weekly goals, I'm kind of just ironing out my days for the week, who I'm going to be interviewing, when I should be editing my videos. That way, I don't have this like overwhelming feeling of, oh my goodness, like it's already Wednesday and I'm like haven't made a video yet. What the heck do I do? So it's just a better way to organize my thoughts. So it's a little bit of like internal product management, project management, and also just doing the work. but it's still a lot of work, man. YouTube editing and all that stuff. It's a
Yeah,
grind.
yeah,
What
no,
about you?
that's true. I mean, I'm just trying to, yeah, keep growing as a developer and build like, so the game I'm trying to play with myself is, you know, can I make more money as a developer, or can I grow this channel to be
Mm,
something that could eventually replace like my full-time job and give me a little bit, obviously you're always going to work, but doing something that I enjoy. Not even say I enjoy, because I enjoy coding too, but doing something on my terms, you know what I mean, instead
right.
of working for somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it'll be cool. And I really love sharing my story. I love
Hmm.
teaching. And so like, this is like a great, like YouTube is a great avenue for me to kind of try to do that. But
Can I ask
what
a
are your
question?
goals? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever get conflicted where you're saying, "Oh, wow, I'm spending so much time making content, but I could be spending that time learning something new, getting better at something else with coding"? How do you deal with that internal battle between like content creation and like
Yeah,
coding? Yeah, the
that's a
two
great,
C's.
yeah, that's a great question. And you gave a good advice to Cho Codes, and kind of like hit really close to home for me is because, he was talking about how he wants to get a web development job, but I felt, and I could be wrong, is that he wants to be a content creator. And that's why
Mm,
your advice directly was going against of what he was actually doing. He wants to be
right.
a content creator. He wants to follow in the steps of other people that created similar channels in his niche. He wants to brand himself. He wants to sell merchandise. He wants to do all that stuff, and which is fine, but you can't do both. So, like for me at least, the way I look at it is I want to be a programmer, and my coding channel is about my process being a programmer, so it's in
Hmm.
line with my goal. But if, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. So I was involved in martial arts for a very long time. For me to, let's say, do a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school on the side on the weekends and then pursue coding and the YouTube channel would be impossible. You can't do everything at once. So you just have to decide what's important to you. Because I'm doing YouTube, I am saying no to like a ton of things. And
Right.
that's just the reality. And for me, it's the commitment that I'm willing to make. It's definitely not for everybody. And the truth is, you can't do YouTube. You can't learn to code and get a job. You can't, play soccer full time. Whatever it is, you insert example. Like the way I look at it, you have like one major and one minor in your life, and that's what you could do. You could do one
Yeah.
big thing. It could be your full time job, and then your YouTube is your minor, or it could be the opposite. Like YouTube is your job, but then you have some other activity that you do as a hobby, whatever. But you can't be good at everything at the same time. And so, yeah, when you gave that advice to Coach Jones, I was like, yeah, the dude, if he's really serious about getting a job, he's got to do all those things Tech Rally said. You know what I mean? You kind of have to set your priorities. So,
Right. And I think his situation is so different from ours in a sense that we do have jobs as software engineers. And now we're at a point where maybe we're not struggling with trying to find that first job. We're just
right.
trying to figure out how do we better ourselves technically and just contribute in a more significant way. But that's a different type of struggle. But for him, I think he might have gained traction really quickly
Yeah,
to
which
the
is awesome.
point that now which is awesome, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it could be a curse in a sense that you're that 5, 6. I don't even realize how much time I spent doing like editing videos, come up with
Yeah.
ideas. It's a long time, but
Yeah.
that's I'm like, whoa, shoot! If I just spent that time learning how to like becoming a better developer, then what else could I do? But for me, at least, I'm at a level now where learning an extra new thing, it doesn't really make too much of an impact on him. But at least when you're first starting off, it makes such a big impact on your software developer journey because you know nothing. It's like
Yeah.
the
That's a
Game of
lot to
Thrones. You
learn.
know nothing, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's how
Exactly.
I really feel. Like you really don't
Yeah.
know nothing. You don't really know anything, and then you're trying to like kind of cut corners to like do something else, right? And as at least when I'm starting off on something, it's better to focus everything that you can to that. And right now, to me, that's YouTube. But if I did YouTube and I also was trying to build a side app or something where like I actually
Oh,
wanted to
so
legit
hard.
make money, I wouldn't have time at all because I'm working full time, and then I would have no social life or whatever. And it's just yeah. So I think a lot of times when I talk about my videos about making coding a priority, it really is really advice that I follow to this day is like you have to make it a priority. Otherwise, you're always gonna say, "Oh no, I'm gonna hang out with friends," or "No, I want to do some other thing," and whatever. It's like, okay, well, obviously you're not a software developer because you just aren't prioritizing it correctly. Like, do you really want this? And I don't know if you've ever watched that Ultimate Fighter, those like reality TV shows, but the Dana White, the first season, he's like, "Do you want to be a fighter? If you want to be a fighter, do you want to be a fighter?" It's like, do you want to be a programmer, right? Like, do you want to be a software developer?
And that's like, it seems that a lot of people, they want to do the thing without putting in the work, and that, like,
Right.
nobody wants to hear that advice. Like, you just have to want it and make it
Yeah.
a priority, and you're not making it a priority if you're just watching YouTube channels. And I mean, nothing wrong with that, but if you're not coding, if you're not doing the physical work, you're not getting better. Like, you're never going to be one. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They think there's some trick that we're not telling them. Like, what's the trick, Tech Rally?
Meh.
Tell them right now so they hear it. Come on, spill the beans. I gotta know.
Maybe I'll create a video called like how I got into Fang in 2 hours or something.
Yeah, exactly. You should, to troll people. I want to make
Troll
some
people.
trolling videos like that too. I'm gonna make one. I had like a video from me and my fiance. We were on the beach somewhere beautiful, and like I kind of like, this could be you. All you have to do.
Life of a
It's like,
software developer.
yeah, exactly. And the fact of the matter is, you gotta like work your ass off. It's like, that's what it is. And a lot of people, they get started because they're sold a dream, but then when the hard work hits, they're like, I don't know if I'm willing to pay the price. You know, you have to make sacrifices somewhere, you know.
Right.
Because I do
Right.
coding, there's things that I don't do, and vice versa.
Exactly. That's
It's like,
it's a give and take at the end of
it's,
the day. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't want to hold you up, and I do
Yep.
want to thank you for your time. Always awesome to have you. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to Tech Rally, go subscribe to him. If you haven't checked out his videos, just watch all of them. Not because you want to increase his watch time, but because a lot of his videos offer so much value. And I watch his videos, and I'm like, man, why is he so good? I get upset, really upset that he makes such good videos. But yeah, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and definitely if I know I don't schedule my live streams like you do, but if you're ever on, I'll definitely have you on on my live stream, and we'll
shoot me like, you know, a mail or whatever, message me on my phone,
Yeah.
and I'll jump in, because it's always fun, always great to talk to you. Let's do one before you go. People forget that when you get a job, you spend 8 hours a day coding. So if you want a job, you never had one, you got to study a lot. Other devs with jobs learn more in a week than you. Yes, I read that poorly. Yes, I learned more on my few months at work than I did in my previous 2 years self-study, and that's 100% true.
I agree with that. That's why they always recommend you to take your first job if you're around experienced developers, because what you learn in that 1 week is just exponentially more than what you can do on your own. So
It's so funny, like us trying to like finish this live stream is like a bad like girlfriend and boyfriend trying to like say goodbye for the last time because they broke up. And it's like, no, but you know, listen, that's it. Hard stop, because I know you got places to be.
yeah,
You know?
but you have to actually do like a 10-minute wind down, you know? Like I think there has to be like that solo ending of just like, all right, guys, we're
Oh no,
getting close to the end of the
I
live
don't know
stream.
what that is. I just go 100% all the way, and then I just turn off the stream. And people like, what happened? Did his stream like cut off? Listen, yeah, no, I will stick around for a few minutes. I'm not gonna leave.
Yeah, you should.
I'm gonna, you know, bring everybody down gently. You know.
Everyone
Everybody
like this
said-
video. It's at 25 likes right now. Let's try to hit it at 100. Just kidding.
yeah, yeah, seriously, love to see that. Let's do this. Anyway,
All right, man. Thanks for having
a
me
lot.
on again. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it. I'll
always.
see you later.
Hey, see you later. Have
Bye.
a good one. Take care. All right, that was amazing. Always great to have Tech Rally here. Such a good guy, such a pleasant personality, you know, and that's why I like our community here, because you guys are all awesome. Like I always say this, you guys are a mirror that reflects your positivity, or at least the show is, and I really appreciate all of you guys here. And, you know, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, go check out his channel. Like I said before, Web Dev Junkie here. He has an amazing YouTube channel. Definitely go show him some love. And I always appreciate everything you guys do here. And, you know, that was such a good conversation. I don't even know what else to add, But if you guys have any last questions for like a few minutes or suggestions for the next live stream, I do this live stream. Today we did it 1 hour earlier, but I usually do it 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm in Austin. And we do it every Saturday. So every Saturday, that's what we do. This is what we talk about. I'm always fun to have you guys with us. And I hope you guys are doing well on your journeys. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you guys are looking to get your first job, if you've been working as a developer, what you've been doing and working on. I know like everybody's at a different journey, so I always like to hear from you guys. Yeah, so that was the stream. Yeah, look at this. The Tech Rally is the first one who talked me out of topics. I no longer know what to talk about. Looking at the comments here. Come on, somebody. Last question. Anyway. All right. I think we all had a nice hour and a half of amazing journey. As always, I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I mean, always have fun on the stream with you guys. Lots of love to you guys. Thanks for your support. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel and allow me to give you my 2 cents on the journey that I've been part of, switching careers later in life. With that being said, guys, have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys later. And we have some good questions. Look, I'm a sucker for last question. Is that dubstep we're hearing? Lol. Yeah, I play some good music, Try to kick it here. Finishing my IT degree and working on web dev tutorials. See a bootcamp when it starts. Albert, awesome. You and I will have to, work together on the projects. It'll be amazing. So, yeah, by the way, guys, if you missed it, you could always rewatch it. It'll be amazing. Your shirt is sick. Thank you. I love the flowers. You guys are amazing. But anyway, thank you again for tuning in. Really appreciate all of you guys. So I am going to go now and have dinner because I didn't eat yet. So thank you guys for everything. Love you guys. As always, keep coding, keep studying, and hope you guys get that dream job you guys were looking for. Good night, everyone.